Do you have what it takes to be a homeschool mom or dad? Right? So first I want to start with a question, and I was really hoping I'd have a few, but again, on the replay, still put the comments in there. So I would like to ask the question, what stands in the way? What are some of the obstacles that or stands in the way and keeps you from resounding saying, yes, I have everything it takes? Like, what are some of the things that might be obstacles or areas? Because like I said, my goal for this is that you leave here just a little more confident in what you're doing as a homeschool mom. So what are some things that maybe like stand in the way of that confidence? What are some things that might come? And I know, Debbie, you're the only one here, so I'll only wait 30 seconds or so, but on the replay, put those things in the box, because one of the things that, or in the comments, because one of the things I want to do is go back and maybe address some of the different topics that come up. All right, so Debbie says, yeah, I don't have a degree. Yeah, that can be intimidating. And sometimes I know that since I am a teacher and I do have a degree in education, like that wasn't something that I had to overcome, but I can definitely see how that might be challenging for someone. But let me just encourage you, you don't need a degree to teach your children at home. All right, so let's go on and get to the meat of why we're here today. So my hope, Debbie's still, okay, I'm going to talk about that one too, because this is good for me. This is good for me to, I'm sorry that all of you have to be guinea pigs, because you're guinea pigs. I'm learning on the fly here. So Debbie said, I wasn't good in school myself. That definitely, I hear that. I actually heard that just a couple of days ago. And that can be like, I can understand how you would feel like, okay, well, if I wasn't good in school, how am I going to help my kids be in school? Let me just tell you that there are so many great curriculum options out there. Some that are student-led options, where you're just more of a facilitator, you're more of just a helper. There are so many, even like, I get parents that say, oh my goodness, my child's getting in math, they're getting to where I can't, I don't know that part, right? There are a lot of supports out there that I can help you find that will help you get through maybe that. I think, I almost lost it again. Anyway, that can help you sort of get over those hurdles and in those specific areas that maybe you don't feel like you're quite maybe know enough. But like I said, there's so much out there. Don't take time worrying too much about that. And then I see another thing that Debbie, I'll just go on with this last one and then I'm going to move forward. But yeah, my kids will not be socialized. And we're going to talk a little bit about connecting with others today. That is an important piece. Now, I always said, I had 4 children, so I always said, well, if that's not a social unit, I don't know what is, right? Because just being a family member and learning to get along with the different personalities and everything. But yeah, there's lots of ideas of ways that you can connect with other homeschoolers, just depending on what you're looking for. All right, so let me go into the meat of it. And I'm going to bring you just four words for you to take away that represent sort of 4 areas that will help you be the homeschool mom that you desire to be. And I'll just give you a disclaimer. I'm reading a book, and I don't remember the exact title of it, but reading a book, and it's about how to have a happy life. And in truth, these 4 D words are not totally my idea. I didn't come up with these 4 D words. I was reading this book, and as I was reading it, I thought, this applies to being a homeschool parent. And so I began to sort of dig into this and build the structure of today's video. So the first D word that I want to put out there is desire. and, desire. And we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between desire and those feelings. Okay. So I want you to think of, and the first thing that came to mind was this whole idea of like weight loss. And I'm sure, or living a healthy life or eating more healthy. Like, I think we all have at some point said we would like to make changes in our life, right? To eat more healthy, to lose weight, to exercise more, all of those things. And we've put plans in place and all of this, and we've had this desire, what we call a desire, and yet only to find that a couple weeks in, we say, oh, this is hard, right? We maybe don't stay on track. So I think we can all identify with that. And I want to give you some tips on how you can keep that desire going, that deep desire, that deep conviction, opposed to being just like temporary feelings. Because I am going to guarantee that there will be days when you say, I do not want to do this anymore. This is too hard. I experienced a lot of days of that throughout all the many years I homeschooled. And we have to be able to really have that desire in place. And I'll tell you more about what I mean about desire, so that those temporary feelings don't get us off course any more than we let them. All right. So this is what I think we really need to do to sort of get that deep desire deep in our heart is to get to our big why, right? Yeah, Debbie, I know. It happened many times and you were right there. So thank you. I don't know if you're talking about me or you. Debbie and I have walked this homeschool. She was sort of the catalyst to homeschooling. I should tell that story someday. I won't tell it now, but yeah. So this is your deep why. So if you haven't clearly identified your big why and really gotten your vision and your mission down, written on a piece of paper, that's where I would encourage you to start. It's one of the services that I provide and I can help you do, probably with one like session, but to help you really get on paper, why do you want to homeschool? Why do you think that this is the best option? And you know what? You might enter into that process, and at the other side of it, you might say, oh, wait a second. You know what? I don't think this is the best option. So don't get me wrong. I am not here, I am here to support that process, but I am not here to tell you that every child should be homeschooled. You may work through the process with me and you might say, you know what, now I have real clarity that homeschooling is not for us right now, or homeschool just isn't for us. So, but in order to do that, you really have to get down into the deep why and what you want for your children. And that way, when you have that in place, it becomes this foundational piece. All right. And let's say, and we'll talk more about why you need that foundational piece and how the pieces fit together. But let's start at the bare bones. Let's say you think that this is probably the best option, but you don't have a great desire to dig in. Well, the really great thing, and I haven't said this yet, but I will a lot of times come from I'm just going to get it out there. I'm going to come from my faith walk in a lot of the things. And so what I have found, if you don't have that deep desire, or you don't have whatever you need, the first step is to go ahead and go to God and say, God, I want to do the best for my children, and I think it might be homeschool, but I don't really have that deep desire that Charlotte's talking about. So pray and ask, because God tells us that we don't have because we don't ask, and He can begin to give you that desire and work in your heart that way. Another way to keep that desire going is exactly with Debbie Kingzett. So Debbie Kingzett and I have walked the homeschool walk together. And I am so thankful for you, Debbie. I really am. I don't want to get off on that, but I am very thankful that I had you, because God did not intend for us to walk any journey alone. And so one of the things I would encourage you is to find some like-minded people to walk the homeschool journey with you. And even if you're just considering it, talk to some homeschool moms. Let them tell you what their big why is. Let them explain to you what their vision is and why they do what they do. And there may be something that sparks in you and say, "Oh, yeah, that's what it is." So keep company with like-minded people. The third thing here is that I would encourage you to be teachable. All right, this journey is as much about you growing into the parent that God intended as it is for educating your children. I encourage you to be open to the Holy Spirit. Decide to be a life learner and keep a growth mindset. And if you haven't heard the words growth mindset, I will probably be doing a live at some point on growth mindset so that you should really understand that, because I truly believe that's the mindset that God intends for us to have. All right, I thought this might be a good time. I don't want to get too long with this, but to really, again, one of my goals is for you to see who I am and where I'm coming from. So I thought this might be a good time for me to talk about my big why. Okay, why am I doing this business? Why homeschoolers? Okay, so my passion has always been people, especially women, and helping them find their gifts and helping them grow into the person that God intended them to be. I believe that every person is created uniquely and that God has a plan for each of your lives. So why homeschoolers? All right, so this is really near and dear to my heart. I believe that you as a parent know your children better than anyone else. That's sort of foundationally, even as you say, we go back to some of those objections or those things that keep us from thinking that this is a path, right? You know your child better than anyone else does. You know what they need. You know what their strengths are, what kind of things they need to work on. You are the expert in your family. And I am here to come alongside you. I am not the expert. I am here to come alongside you with support and ideas to help you create the homeschool or the educational plan that works best for your family. All right. I also believe that no homeschool looks the same. And often your homeschool can look one way one year and then look different the next. So just and your all my friends, we didn't homeschool exactly alike. My sister-in-law homeschooled. Her homeschool looked very different from my homeschool. So that's the beauty of homeschooling. You can create a plan that is unique for your family so that everybody can thrive. Hi Pam. Hi Cindy. Cindy, I don't think I know you, but I want to get to know you. So thank you for popping in. So anyway, so why? So I told you sort of like why I'm starting this business and working with people. When I look at homeschool parents, I've dug in just a little bit more about like what's my passion now. Like I'm not a homeschooling mom. I have grandchildren now. Maybe someday they'll be homeschooled. Maybe not. Maybe that won't be the choice that they think is best for their family. But I feel like working with parents makes it generational. I want to empower parents to make informed educational choices, develop a plan that enables each of their children to step into their God-given purpose. So the big picture is, as I work with parents, I am affecting the next generation. That's my heart. That is my heart. And that's my big why. So I wanted to share that as we talk about desires and your big whys. So I just encourage you to dig in and find, what is your big why when it comes to educating your kids? All right, so that was number one, desire. Number two is decision. So once you have gotten your big why and it's getting a lot more clear as to whether homeschooling is the option you want or homeschooling maybe is not, something else is for this season or for your family, I would encourage you to, when you make that decision, tell somebody. What that begins to build is some accountability. So let me go back again to the process that I've been in with my new business. The first time that I actually made myself say, when they asked me, well, you're not going to be teaching anymore, so what are you going to be doing? And I said, I am going to be an educational consultant for homeschoolers. Now, when I said that, I was very much aware that I wasn't 100% there. But what did that do? That made me accountable. Then I began to, and it made it more real. And the more times I said it, the more people that I shared that with. So you can do that with your homeschool too. You're finding those like-minded people and you say, you know what? I think this might be for my family. This might be where I want to go. And I can tell you, it's a little scary. It's a little scary. And I was careful with who I told and who I didn't tell initially. All right, until it became more real. And the more you sort of say that, and you begin to see yourself as a homeschool mom. All right, so after that, part of the decision is making a plan. Now, this is really another area that I can help with because there's a lot of pieces and parts with the plan, okay? But this is where I want to link that vision and that mission statement up with your plan. If you take the time, sometimes it's like, oh, I'll get my vision down on paper someday. Well, let me show you how this is going to work with your plan. So when you decide you have your vision here and you begin to look at curriculum, let's say curriculum is a piece of the plan. You bring that curriculum and you say, okay, so this curriculum brings this in, and you look and see, does that line up with what I said, our vision, my big why, my mission for my homeschool? Does that line up? When you begin to maybe create activities or field trips or look at possibilities or look at co-ops, there are co-ops out there, they're joining homeschool groups, all the different things, you begin to go, okay, you bring in these activities or you bring in these things and you start going, does it line up where my vision is for this year? And you begin to put those pieces in place. So there's a lot. There's scheduling. How am I going to schedule? I'm going to schedule what's my best. You know, this is sort of like maybe your husband works second shift, right? Homeschooling does not have to happen in a specific time of day. Maybe in your family, Mondays and Tuesdays are the days your husband's off, and maybe that's sort of like your weekend. So maybe you homeschool Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All of that is within your ability to change. All right? Are you going to take the summers off? You're going to homeschool through the summers. Maybe you have multiple kids and at different levels, and maybe there are subjects that you can do together as a family to save on time. I can help you with all of that. There's notifications of intent to homeschool, like the paperwork, the regulations. I can help you with that. That is all part of that decision and making that plan. All right, third one. I have no idea how long I've been on here, and I didn't want to make this like really, really long, but I am going to go all the way to the end. So the third word is determination. So you can put a plan in place, you can put accountability in place, but at some point you have to get some determination to stay the course, because there are going to be things that aren't going to work out the way that you planned them to work out. And, you know, again, with this business, I keep like paralleling this, but it's sort of like I said, there's a big parallel. When I started this business, I told my husband that there was a good chance that I could fail. He didn't like hearing that. But I knew that I was going to do things that were going to maybe fall flat on their face, that weren't going to turn out the way I wanted them to be. Like even this Facebook Live. I went to go on my computer and I could not find the button to push that seemed like it was going live. And then I decided I'm going on my phone. So I went on my phone. And then my video crashed after like 3 minutes. I had to be determined that I'm going to get this out. I had to stay the course. But if you have that vision and you have that foundational big why, and then you have the plan on top, it's a little easier to stack that determination because you have a plan. You have something in front of you. You put some time and energy into this, and you know why you're doing it. That big why pops up again. I know why I'm doing this. So I am determined. I'm determined to get this out here. Right? Okay, I'm looking at my notes just for a second because I feel like I started to talk and then I got off. So determination, you know, God even talks about how we're going to stumble in many ways and that we're not perfect. And he also tells us to count it all joy, right? It's not always easy, but I would encourage you to look at, when you get a moment, look at 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 3 through 8. And there you'll see a beautiful process that God can take us through. All right, last one, discipline. Discipline is that discipline. So I want you to think of this discipline as being in training. And I think I sort of made reference to it that you're often going to feel like the homeschool is about you through your children becoming the parent that God intended you to do, or intended you to be. All right. So I want you to take just a moment here. And I'm not going to pause for a long time, but I would encourage you that once you're done with the video, to just take some time to step back and really take a moment to evaluate yourself and your environment. When I say environment, I mean like your life, your activities, the things that you do. All right. And here's some questions to ask yourself. Do you enjoy learning? Would someone call you a lifetime learner? What kind of things are you already doing in your family that could be seen as learning opportunities? Do you like to cook? That's an activity that's got all kinds of learning in it. Do you like to garden? Do you live on a farm? Do you like to be out in nature? All those things really are easy to sort of work into your homeschool plan. And they are activities where your children would be learning. Is reading a part of your daily routine? What hobbies do your children have? All of those things. What are your children interested in that you might use to springboard maybe some learning off of? So being a homeschool mom does mean that you're willing to dig in and really evaluate yourself and what kind of a learner you are. So this was the word discipline. So you might have to change some of your habits. It might mean giving up some of your current activities, but it also means new things, maybe some new things. It's going to take discipline and planning, but you can do it if you have that desire. When I think of all the possibilities, like I get so excited. I love learning. I love family life. And I am just excited to see what and learn more about your family and your learning. So getting back to that big question, in conclusion, do you have what it takes to be a homeschool parent? I would say if you have the desire and you decide to make a plan and you add a little bit of determination and some discipline in there, it's a resounding yes. You have what it takes to be a homeschool parent. And I'm here to come alongside you and empower you and help you in any way, in any way that I can. So I just thank you. I thank you for joining, those of you that joined me live, and those of you that are on the replay. Thank you so much. Message me, comment below, give me some feedback. Let me know maybe even some other areas that you might enjoy hearing about. Would you be interested in maybe being part of a smaller group training as one of my services? I'm just sort of open to where God is taking me and you together. So thank you, and God bless you. Bye-bye.